if you're a young guy watching this video, the most important thing you guys can do is take action. All right, when you're young and you have the longer time horizon that you wouldn't have when you're older, and you can eat these mistakes, you eat these failures that you might receive if you fail. You need to take a lot of action. All right, do a lot of things, take chances, take risks. All right, if you have a business idea, you have a dream, you have a fitness goal, you have any kind of goals, just take action, do something. You know, most of the time you know exactly what you need to do to get started, all right, to make some progress. But whether due to laziness or excuses or inconvenience, fear of failure, rejection, whatever it is, there's a bunch of excuses out there. People tend to put off action. They tend to just do nothing. Everything just revolves inside their head. And life does not reward thoughts. Life does not reward theory. It rewards action. It rewards consistency. And like, you have to make something happen in real life to get a real life result, or else everything is just gonna live inside your head. All right, and a lot of people that are young, these days, they tend to, I feel like they tend to just squander their free time. They tend to just waste their freedom they have, and it's not just free time. It's like, when you're young, you have more energy. You usually have more energy than when you're gonna be when you're older. You have more freedom. You have more time to recuperate losses. Like financial losses, any kind of losses, physical, like you get injured, you have more time to recover, and all these failures, even though a lot of people see them as bad things to avoid and painful things, all these failures are a good thing for a young person, because they'll teach you things that work, teach you things that don't work, and it'll build humility, it'll build life experience, and it will strengthen your character. The man who never fails will never learn from failure. They'll always be limited by their failures, limited by their lack of failures, I should say. A lot of people, like to brag that they never failed this and never failed that. They hit this thing on the first try to ace this test without studying. Well, that's a great thing for them, But guess what? Like, if you never failed something, if you always got things right the first time, you never learned the power of the grind. Never understood the hustle. Those people that had things handed easy to them, whether it be like growing up rich, growing up with everything they wanted provided for them, growing up with a perfect family setup, a bunch of friends, they were blessed with great genetics, or whatever it is, whatever people think about when they think of privileges. People that never worked for it, they don't appreciate like hard work as much as people that have to work for it. Even though they might be more successful on paper, like at the end of the day, like you don't compare your success or whatever you perceive as success to someone else's success. All right, at the end of the day, compare yourself, your own progress, where you are in life, where you're going, to the past version of yourself, the man you were yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 5 years from now. Compare yourself to yourself, because that is the only comparison that really matters. If you like, people just compare themselves to other people who have like literally a completely different upbringing, completely different genetics, like different circumstances of everything. Even if you were an identical twin with somebody, even if you were an identical twin, you guys grew up in the same household, the same family, ate the same food, all that same shit, you still might end up with two completely different lives because of circumstances. So what good will it be for you to compare yourself to complete strangers? Even people in real life. You like there's really no point. I mean, it's one thing to be competitive and try to be the best in your class or in your group or something like that. I'm all for the competition, but I feel like a lot of people they get stuck in this toxic comparison game with people, especially on social media and all that stuff. In the gym, in school, they try to compete with people for popularity or some shit, or grades, whatever it was. competition is good, but you need to, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the most important competition is the man in the mirror. When you look in that mirror, you know, did you beat the past version of him? You know, did the stronger version of you today win? You know, did you let your lazy ass get the best of you? Did you let procrastination, excuses, you know, you let temptation, all that bullshit, all these negative things drag you down, and you know, did the lesser version of yourself win? All right. So that's a challenge every day, you know, being the person you know you should be to reach your goals and become the person you want to be, right? If you're 20 years old to 30 years old, especially, even if you're over 30 years old, man, like whatever the fuck age you are, but the younger you are on the spectrum, like the more time you have to recuperate losses. All right, you might be afraid of failing. You might be afraid of the what ifs. What if I go broke? What if I get injured? What if I get rejected? What if this shit doesn't work? What if my family, my friends, they think this of me? They think I'm a loser. They think I'm fucking weird. You know, what if people judge me? What if, you know, this is not what I want? What if I'm gonna hate my life if I do this decision? All these what ifs, man. Like what if you kept thinking of what if, and you sat on your ass all day and never tried? What if that was your life for the next whole year? Like what would you accomplish? And the answer is absolutely nothing. You know, if you just sit on your ass all day thinking what if, well, fuck you. We don't need to think no more. Nothing's gonna happen, right? Like most people will regret not doing something more than they regret doing something, even if they did something and it came out a negative outcome, right? Because like even negative outcomes, you'll learn something will be gained. You have somewhere to pivot from. If you never move and you're in the same place the whole time, you literally have no data to gather. You know, you have nothing to draw from, no experiences to draw from, and you're always going to be limited to your past knowledge, which would never get bigger because you're always stationary. That's why they say when whatever stagnates dies, because whatever stagnates never grows, it never gets bigger, right? And just like money, just like inflation, time keeps marching on whether you move or not. So as time marches on and you stay the same, you're in a sense getting smaller, you know. So yeah, I mean, I kind of went on a ramble again in this video. My point was, whatever idea you have, whatever dream, something that there's something, you know, in your mind, your soul, in your heart that probably excites you, you know, probably makes you a little excited to wake up every day, you know. Something that excites you more than your job or the boring tasks and routines you do, you know. I would say go after it, chase after, you know, pull the trigger, send that shit, you know, whatever it is. You know, I have no clue what it is, but you do, you know. You know what you want in life, and this don't mean, you know, go YOLO and become a stupid fuck and get drunk and fucking get wasted and all that. Unless that's your goal, to be a degenerate fuck, then yeah, go ahead, do that. But this does mean like most of the things we really want and deep in our heart is going to be behind a wall or a chasm of fear, of failure, of discomfort, of pain. You know, you might have to sacrifice something. But I implore you to take that leap of faith, you know, to take that chance, take that risk, shoot your shot, right? You have one life, and if you're under 30 years old, even if you fuck up the worst case scenario, you'll be all right. Trust me, you'll be able to recover, right? And you'll be stronger than when before you took the action. You'll be much stronger. And guess what? You can shoot the shot again and again until you get it, you know. So go after it, guys. Don't let fear of rejection, of failure hold you back, and just chase your dreams every day.